What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another NBA High Five video with your boy. Thank you guys for joining me as always. Last night was an amazing night for the squad. GreenlightDFS.com to join the squad. We're going for a full week streak this week, man. Shit. After our streak ended for NFL, we had 4 straight weeks of NFL victories on the main slates, and then finally we lost this last week in NFL. We've had many solid sized NBA streaks this year. It's been a fantastic NBA season, but I'm excited to really start focusing on trying to beat that record. Our record, I believe, is like 14 to 16. I'm not 100% sure of how many days in a row our record is, but it's pretty hard to reach. But we're going to be trying to do that. We started out the week with an amazing victory yesterday, so I'm just excited to really get into this slate today. Feel really good about it. So, as you can see, Greenlight Optimizer, ladies and gentlemen, it was updated a few minutes ago, so we got the most updated projections that we could possibly have. I made sure I took my time to update these before I started the video. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. No live show today since it's a small slate, but if you any questions you have that you want answered, you can answer them with the Greenlight Optimizer. So get your NBA package, you'll get free access to the optimizer, and you'll be able to play with my projections and build your own stuff for GPP and stuff like that if you would like to, as well as what we provide come lock time, obviously. All right, let's get straight into it. Drop a like down below, comment anything, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get it. Starting off at point guard, I really like Tyus Jones, man. As long as Ja Morant is out, Tyus Jones is going to be a big guy to benefit here. All right, he's still only 5'2". I have him projected at 27.5, as you could see. That's over 5x. I really like his spot here. I have him between the 27 mark to the 30 mark. I wouldn't be surprised to see him score 30 or more DraftKings points. So I really, really like him at 5'2". And like I said, with Ja Morant off the floor, there's going to be many guys benefiting on this Memphis squad. I mean, Dillon Brooks is going to benefit too. Dillon Brooks is a guy who has a huge usage rate, and he could really start dropping 50 bombs as long as Ja's out. So we'll see. But Tyus Jones is in a fantastic spot here at point guard. At shooting guard, it is official. The Knicks came out and said Kemba Walker is out of the rotation. He has been playing like garbage, and Alec Burks will be their starting point guard moving forward. That is fantastic news for us DFS players because Alec Burks is still only 5'6". Fantastic position here and a good matchup against Brooklyn. I haven't projected almost 30, as you could see. Great value for me. I absolutely love Alec Burks. He's another guy that's very solid option today. Now, one thing I've noticed as I was doing my projections and looking over players and stuff is we don't have a lot of definitive value today. We really don't have a ton of value that's going to make it easy for us to, get up to the Stephen Curry, who's my top projected play, Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron. It's going to be hard to get these guys. So I have liked a lot of Dame, Van Vliet options as well. I know Dame has struggled lately, but because he's struggled lately, I'm down to hop right back on board. If Gary Trent Jr. happens to miss, then I'll like Fred Van Vliet. But Gary Trent Jr. was doubtful yesterday, and then he got upgraded to questionable today. That's kind of telling me that he's probably going to play being upgraded. He's probably feeling a lot better. So we'll see what happens. As long as he doesn't have any setbacks, Gary Trent's probably going to play, and you'll see how much I like him in a second. CJ McCollum pops for me as 7'9". I like him a lot. Devin Booker, De'Aaron Fox are right around here too. I like them with Sacramento having guys banged up right now as well. He's a solid option. Siakam hasn't been going crazy, but he's got some big upside with these guys out for Toronto. So he's always a possibility to go off. He's a solid option. But let's go ahead and keep going with the high five. So next up, at center, one of the rare values I like on the slate and probably my favorite value of the slate, and it might end up being the cheapest I go today, is Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa against Memphis is a fantastic matchup here. He's only 4'4". He is the value on this slate. Let me see. I'm pretty sure if I go to all, I sort point per salary. Yeah, Precious Achiuwa is at the very top. Speaking of Gary Trent, I talked about him a second ago. With him going up from doubtful to questionable, I'm leaning towards him playing. Now, obviously, this is something to keep an eye on because we don't know 100%. So keep an eye on Gary Trent. Keep an eye on that situation. But if he plays at 5'4", I really like Trent. With them missing OG, with them missing Birch, Gary Trent's been a very consistent, solid contributor for this team. So I really like Gary Trent. And next up, another center. I like the double center strategy as of right now. LaMarcus Aldridge has been the starting center for Brooklyn lately, going against the Knicks team that is banged up at centers to start with. And whoever they put down there will not be able to hang with Aldridge. Aldridge has been playing upper 20s, low 30s minutes, which is really like if a guy like Aldridge is playing that many minutes. Now, I get it. There's a lot of mouths to feed on this team. You know what I mean? But because of that, having a Harden, having a Durant, it's opening up a lot easier, higher percentage shots for LaMarcus Aldridge. And we all know when he's in the paint, he's almost like automatic. You know what I'm saying? So I really like Aldridge. He's been playing very consistent, very well. I have him projected at 31, almost 32. I think he's gonna have a good game here against the Knicks. It's a great matchup for him down low again against the Knicks squad that is banged up. And if Noel's out and even more of these bigs are out, then I mean it's going to be even easier down low to really dominate them. And you got to think Brooklyn kind of knows that going into. So, and we already know Julius Randle doesn't want to play defense. Okay, plain and simple. Now that I'm done with the core, Tyus Jones, no Ja Morant, Alec Burks is the new starting point guard. Kemba Walker is out of the rotation. So with that being said, Derrick Rose also projects high for me. Now, I have a feeling that a lot of people aren't going to be playing Derrick Rose because they're immediately going to think Alec Burks and they're not going to think too deeply into this. But I want my people to know and I want my people to at least be aware of it. Derrick Rose, when you take Kemba Walker off the floor, Derrick Rose is going to be a big factor here. With Kemba Walker being out of the rotation, that means he's not even going to play off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least right now, he's not in the rotation. With that being said, there's more minutes where Derrick Rose is going to be handling the rock. And I love Derrick Rose a lot here, man. And Derrick Rose is one of those guys where anytime he's going to get a bump in minutes and usage in general, he is a guy who can really go off. At 4'3", he's a dude who feels like great value for me as well. I'm not super high on Simons. I get it. No, Norman Powell should get some extra run, but I'm not huge on it. But I do like it for GPP, which is why I have him as a solid value here. But my favorite overall values is Achilwa, Gary Trent, point per dollar wise. Achilwa, Gary Trent, Derrick Rose, and LaMarcus Aldridge on this slate. So what does that tell you? That means we don't really have any fantastic 3K range guys as of right now that I'm loving. The first 3K guys that pops for me is Larry Nance, who's been getting some run. Nasir Little, obviously. Norman Powell out. That's interesting as well. Well, Norman Powell's questionable too, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. Any other 3K guys? Brandon Clark at 3.7, Davion Mitchell 3.9, Cameron Payne 3.9. So we have some, but none of them feel great. The best value on the entire slate is Precious Achiuwa. That is the safest, best bet for value. Derrick Rose is very interesting value as well at that 4K range, like Achiuwa is. I wouldn't fade Achiuwa for Rose. If anything, I'd play both. If you're really wanting to get value and get up to a Curry, possibly. You know what I mean? Because if you look at it, if you take Gary Trent out of this high five, right, and you put in Derrick Rose instead of Gary Trent, let's say Gary Trent's out, right? And you want Derrick Rose instead of Gary Trent. That's going to save you $1,000. Maybe you can somehow work in a Curry or something, who is my top projected play of the day. It's a tough matchup against Chris Paul, but Curry is Curry, man. And on a small slate like this, you pretty much just want straight up core points. But I will say my gut is really screaming Dame today because he's had a couple down games in a row. I'm expecting him to really bounce back here in a fantastic matchup against Detroit. So expect some good things out of him as well at home in Portland. So I'm excited for Dame. I think Dame could be an interesting spend up guy if you want to kind of balance things off if we don't get great value that feels good to you. All right? Thank you guys for joining me as always. Tyus Jones, Alec Burks, Gary Trent. Keep an eye on Gary. Precious Achiuwa and LaMarcus Aldridge is the core as of right now. As you can see, I have no spend ups in the core because at the end of the day, you can play any of these guys. Okay? My favorite, as you can see projection wise, is Curry. My favorite out of the spend up guys when it comes to point per salary, you can see is Van Vliet and Dame Lillard. All right, but if you're going for just straight overall points, it would be Curry, Durant, Harden, LeBron, those guys. All right? All right, thank you guys. Good luck tonight. Anybody gets a takedown, y'all make sure to hit me up on Twitter. Let me know. At Cam_ATL. Hit me up on there if you have any questions. Once again, the best way to know whether I like this player or this other player is to look at my literal projections. These are my personal projections for this slate today, okay? And they will be updated as the day goes on, as information comes out, and as I change and adjust people, all right? And if you look here, when you're on the optimizer, you look up here, it says updated 11:38 Central Time. Okay, so this is Central Time, this time you see right here. So make sure you adjust it according to wherever you live. All right, Eastern Time would be different, obviously. So Central Time, it was updated at 11:38. It'll keep updating as the day goes on. All right, thank you guys for joining me as always. Let's get this money tonight, y'all. Peace.